Good evening, students. We are this is pharmacology for BSc nursing second year students, and the chapter which we are going to deal today is that is the drugs on respiratory system. So, what are the drugs which comes in respiratory system are the anti-asthmatic drugs, asthma. So first let's see the name of those drugs which are needed. Let's see at once, if we will deal with anti-asthmatic, so classification will be bronchodilators, beta 2 sympathomimetic, salbutamol and methylxanthine. Example will be theophylline and aminophylline, and anticholinergic ipratropium bromide. And the third one classification will be leukotriene antagonist, that is montelukast, then mast cell stabilizers like ketofen, anti-inflammatory agents like systemic corticosteroids or hydrocortisones, and inhalational corticosteroids like beclomethasone, and anti-immunoglobulin E antibody will be the omalizumab. So let's discuss up to here only. We will see only the mechanism of action. So first is the anti-asthmatic. Asthma is a physiologically characterized by increased responsiveness of trachea and bronchi to various stimuli. Yes, it is increased as the response increase of trachea and bronchi to various stimuli and by widespread of narrowing of the airway. The agents that increase the bronchi reactivity are the ozone exposure, allergen inhalation, infection with respiratory virus also causes the airway inflammation. Its pathologic characters are contraction of airway, lumens. So the anti-asthmatic drugs are divided into two categories mainly: short-term relievers and long-term relievers. Short-term relievers like beta-adrenoreceptor stimulant, theophylline, anti-muscarinic agent, and long-term like anti-inflammatory agent and inhibiting of the muscle. And its classification can occur, I already told, the bronchodilator, that is beta 2 sympathomimetic, example salbutamol, then methylxanthine, example aminophylline or theophylline, then anticholinergic like ipratropium bromide. Then the second one is the leukotriene antagonist, that like montelukast or gefilukast, then mast cell stabilizers like ketotifen, then anti-inflammatory agents like systemic corticosteroids, example hydrocortisone, and inhalational corticosteroids like beclomethasone. Then anti-IgE antibody like omalizumab. So let's see about the bronchodilators. Bronchodilators are the drugs used in bronchial asthma, and they relax the spasm of the bronchi. What they do? They relax the spasm of the bronchi by sympathetic nerve system circulation. Means they will cause the sympathetic nerve system stimulation will be there, and the bronchi will be relaxed. Muscles of the bronchi will be relaxed. So here main involvement is the sympathetic nerve system, and these are broadly classified as, you can see the picture: sympathomimetic, anticholinergic, and methylxanthine. Sympathomimetic can be catecholamine, non-catecholamine. Catecholamine are the hadronolene, isoproterenol, biltoperol, and non-catecholamine can be saligins, resorcinols, saligenids is having salbutamol, and roscornols is having peneterol, terbutaline, metaproterenol. And anticholinergics can be systematically and non-systematically. Systematically can be the atropine, and non-systematically ipratropium bromide, atropine methyl nitrate, and methylxanthine can be the theophylline. So mainly you can say bronchodilators can be classified into three: sympathomimetic, then anticholinergic and methylxanthines. Methylxanthines will be the theophylline and anticholinergic will be the systematic and non-systematic. Systematic will be the atropine and non-systematic will be ipacapine bromide. And sympathomimetic will be catecholamine and non-catecholamine. Let's see. Adrenaline can be an example. So it can also be divided into two: selective beta-2 receptor agonist and non-selective beta-2 receptor agonist. It's not needed. This classification is not we can do in detail. So the sympathomimetic drugs can be classified in two, that is selectively beta-2 receptor agonist and second one is the non-selective beta-2 receptor agonist. So first is the selective beta-2 receptor agonist, salbutamol. The sympathomimetic drugs only do the mimic the action of sympathetic stimulation only. Sympathetic stimulation and the sympathomimetic agent of beta-adrenergic receptor agonists are mostly used. So the salbutamol or albuterol is a selectively beta-2 receptor agonist. That is salbutamol or albuterol is a short-acting beta-2 adrenergic receptor agonist and it is used for relief of bronchospasm in conditions such as asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, etc. Salbutamol is why used. It is a short-acting beta-adrenergic receptor, as we already see. So it is selectively beta-2 receptor agonist, a type of bronchodilator only, and used for relief of bronchospasm in conditions such as asthma, chronic obstructive disease, COPD. Then mechanism of action: airway smooth muscles has little sympathetic nervous system supply. So they will have little sympathetic nervous system supply but contain lots of beta-adrenoreceptor that respond to circulating adrenaline. So the stimulation of beta-2 receptor cells rise in the intracellular cyclin adenine monophosphate CAMP levels and subsequent bronchial smooth muscle relaxation. Indication can be the bronchodilator in reverse airway obstruction due to asthma or COPD, prevention of exercise-induced bronchospasm, and can be aerosolized with a nebulizer or cystic fibrosis, hypersensitivity to the albuterol or salbutamol, then patient with the tachyarrhythmia or risk of abortion during first trimester. Side effect can be angina, atrial fibrillation, chest discomfort, pain, tachycardia, dizziness, etc. So then it comes to the non-selective beta-2 receptor agonist, ephedrine. The example can be the ephedrine. Ephedrine is a sympathomimetic amine and it is also commonly a stimulant, appetite suppress. It can suppress the appetite, concentration, add deconcentration, and to treat hypotension associated with anesthesia. Mainly it is used for treating allergies and asthma for its decongesting bronchodilator property, and it is administered through the nose and mouth by injection. Mechanism of action will be of ephedrine will be it relieves the tissue stores of norepinephrine. Ephedrine will do what? It releases the tissue stores of norepinephrine and therefore produces alpha-beta adrenergic stimulation, long-lasting and less potent than epinephrine. So what these do? Ephedrine releases the non-epinephrine and produces alpha-beta adrenergic stimulants. These are long-acting. It can be used in treatment of bronchial asthma, acute bronchospasm, idiopathic orthostatic hypotension, anesthesia-induced hypotension, postoperative nausea and vomiting. Contraindication can be the hypersensitive to this drug and cardiac arrhythmias. Then methylxanthine or theophylline drug. Theophylline drug, this is also known as the dimethylxanthine. Theophylline drug is already also known as the dimethylxanthine and is a methylxanthine drug which is used in the therapy for respiratory diseases such as COPD or asthma. It acts as a member of xanthine family and bears a structural and pharmacological structure similar to caffeine only. It is labeled as a number of different salts only. So mechanism of action is it causes bronchodilation, diuresis, means it will cause bronchodilation, then it will cause the increase in urine output, CNS, and cardiac stimulation, gastric resuscitation by blocking the phosphodiesterase, which increases the tissue concentration of CAMP. Then anticholinergic muscarinic agent. This was also the part of the we are seeing anticholinergic muscarinic agent, which was systematically and non-systematically atropine and ipratropium bromide. So let's see. Anticholinergic muscarinic agent, ipratropium bromide. Ipratropium bromide is an anticholinergic agent. So it is an anticholinergic agent and it is also a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug also. So it is an anticholinergic agent and it has a synthetic quaternary ammonium compound chemically related to atropine. It blocks the neurotransmitter, especially in CNS and CNS. What it do? It blocks the anticholinergic agent, blocks the muscarinic cholinergic receptors with block the neurotransmitter, especially the CNS and CNS, and then what happens is result in decreased formation of cyclic guanosine monophosphate in CGMP. It will act on the CGMP. It will depress the neurotransmitter, then CGAMP will be increased, which will cause myosin and muscle relaxation. Mast cell stabilizers. Mast cell stabilizers we are discussing. So let's see, up to here we have discussed. Then the other drug is mast cell stabilizers, that is cromolyn sodium. Here also we have seen mast cell stabilizer. Ketotifen also an example. So mast cell stabilizer, cromolyn sodium or ketotifen we can use, and leukotriene antagonist already we have seen, montelukast and jatidegast, and corticosteroid hydrocortisone will be systemic and beclomethasone will be inhaled, that already I told, and anti-IgE antibody is omalizumab. So let's see. Mast cell stabilizers. The mast cell stabilizers are common medications which are used to prevent or control certain allergic disorders. So why they are used? They are used to prevent or control certain allergic disorders. They block a calcium channel. Mast cell stabilizers only block the calcium channel, which are essential for mast cell degranulation, stabilizing the cell to prevent cell and so prevent the release of histamine and related mediators. So what they do? They are the chromomone medication which are used to prevent or control the allergic disorders, and they block the calcium channel for mast cell degranulation, stabilizing the cell. Calcium channel will be blocked and cell degranulation will be stabilized, and then there will be prevention of release of histamine and related mediators. Once the pharmacodynamic mechanism is the blocking of IgE regulated calcium channel, without intracellular calcium, the histamine vesicles cannot fuse through the cell membrane and degranulate. Mast cells are found throughout the body, including the airway of the lungs. Mast cell stabilizes and prevent the mast cell from releasing substances that cause inflammation. One example is cromolyn sodium. Let's see. Cromolyn sodium Promolene sodium. The promoglycic acid is traditionally described as mast cell stabilizer and is commonly marketed as the sodium salt, promoglace or promolene sodium, and this drug prevents the relapse of inflammatory chemicals such as histamine from mast cell. What does it do? It prevents the relapse of the inflammatory chemicals. It prevents the allergic reaction, blocking the calcium channel as I already discussed. So what does it do? It is releasing the inflammatory chemicals such as histamine for mast cell. Let's see mechanism of action. Promolene works because it prevents the release of mediators that would normally attack the inflammatory cell. It would stop the release of mediators which will attract the inflammatory cell, because it only stabilizes the inflammatory cell. So it is more likely that those work by inhibiting the response of sensory C fibers to the irritant capsaicin and the local axon reflexes involved in asthma, and may exhibit the release of performed T cell cytokinase and mediators involved in asthma. It can be used as a nasal spray to treat allergic rhinitis, inhaler for preventing management of asthma, as eye drops for allergic conjunctivitis, and oral form to treat mastocytosis and dermatitis, urticaria, ulcerative colitis. Hypersensitivity to this drug can be there. So mainly mast cell stabilizers help in relieving in inflammation, and it stabilizes the mast cell for releasing the substance that causes inflammation. Then corticosteroids. The corticosteroids are one of the several types of steroids, and the type of steroid used in the treatment is asthma. For corticosteroids, the type of drug which is several types of steroids, and it is used for treatment of asthma mainly. So the glucocorticosteroids can be used. They suppress the inflammatory reaction which causes swelling and narrowing. So corticosteroids and mast cell stabilizers both relieve what? They relieve the inflammatory cells, so that the narrowing of the bronchi can occur. Then hydrocortisone. Hydrocortisone is an example of systemic. Then inhalational will be the beclomethasone. So hydrocortisone is a natural corticosteroid produced by the adrenal glands located at the adjacent in the kidney. It is an immunosuppressive drug given by injection in the treatment of severe allergic reaction like anaphylaxis or angioedema. Mechanism of action will be that it decreases the inflammation by suppression of migration of polymorphonuclear leukocytes and reversal of increased capillary permeability. Indications are asthma, COPD, etc. Then anti-IgE antibody, that is omalizumab, I already told. So omalizumab is a monoclonal antibody. Omalizumab, if we talk about, then it will be a monoclonal antibody. It will target the high affinity receptor binding site on the human immunoglobulin IgE. It will target the high affinity receptor binding site on human immunoglobulin IgE and reduces the severity of exacerbation and rescue medication use and improve rhinitis related quality of life. Mechanism of action can be, it is an IgE monoclonal antibody, recombinant DNA derived, which inhibit the IgE binding to the high affinity IgE receptor on mast cells and basophils. By decreasing bound IgE, the activation and release of mediators in the allergic response early and late phase is limited. Serum free IgE level in the number of high affinity IgE receptors are decreased. Long-term treatment in patients with allergic asthma showed a decrease in asthma exacerbation and corticosteroids. Means they will help in the asthma also. Allergic reaction will be decreased. So up to here I have discussed. The next I will discuss in the next video. Thank you class.